Hello there, this is CoreTV News of the Hour with Nifemi Oguntoye. Armed men suspected to be Boko Haram members have attacked the College of Administrative and Business Studies, Potiskum, the Yobe state capital. The attack, which was carried out at about 8 o'clock on Friday morning, as casualty figures remain unknown. But we hear that one of the insurgents who strapped an improvised explosive device to himself died when the bomb was detonated. Some students were also injured. CoreTV News will bring you details of that later. The Nigerian Air Force is convinced that recent aerial bombardment of Boko Haram's positions has substantially reduced the group's ability to carry out coordinated attacks in any part of the country. Chief of Air Staff Adishola Mosu attributes this to the success of intelligence missions and the readiness of troops to end the insurgency after initial setbacks. He was speaking at the news conference to herald the 54th anniversary of the Nigerian Air Force in Abuja. Pius Samuel has more.
Nigerian troops have of late turned the tide on Boko Haram and are now taking the battle to the insurgents in their Sambisa forest base. This, according to the Air Force authorities, is because of well-coordinated air and ground assault on terrorist positions. The Chief of Air Staff insists that the offensive has crippled the insurgents and reduced their chances of carrying out any organized attack within the Nigerian territory.
If it is about Boko Haram, we have plans. We have already established some forward operation bases. To complement the maritime end, we have one FOB in Badagry. We have one in Mobi already established now. We are still going to construct additional in Mongonu and Bama. Why do we need these FOBs? It will help us to be able to position attack helicopters in those locations for effective border patrol. The maritime area is very vital. Most people don't pay attention there because those equipment they could be smuggling in to fight in the northeast, essentially they may come from the maritime area. So we need to see exactly what's going on there.
He attributed the success of the Air Force to support it has been receiving from some members of the international community. Also listed Pakistan, Ukraine and South Africa among countries that have helped in boosting the combat capacity of the Air Force.
When it comes to the partnership, we want to thank the nations of Pakistan, Ukraine, South Africa. We got huge expendables from them. That changed the entire situation in the Northeast. That was a huge support we got from them. We want to thank them and we really appreciate the partnership.
After appreciating the partnership the Air Force has enjoyed from other countries, the Chief of Air Staff is not totally comfortable with the state of the Air Force. He reeled out the challenges facing the force, which requires urgent attention.
If we were able to get the argument going for the previous administration, if we respect their arguments, their call for more acquisition, we will not be where we are today. If you want to quickly go to the market and do the shopping at once, it's always difficult. They are not on the shelf. So my recommendation is that it must be progressive because we have competing demands for the scarce resources we have. And most of the manufacturers, they don't even expect you to make a one-time payment. It's going to be instrumental payments. A milestone can be established so that you can make these funds available.
The Nigerian Air Force has assured Nigerians that the ongoing offensive against Boko Haram in Sambisa Forest will be sustained and improved upon until the terrorists are wiped out from the northeast region. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
And back to our Yobe story. We're joined now by the Commissioner of Police in Yobe State. Can you tell us more about the reported attacks earlier this morning in Yobe?
This morning around 8:30, 08:00 at 0830 hours, and about to reach your place when I received a phone call from Patiskum that there is a suicide bomber that blew himself in College of Administrative and Business Studies, Patiskum. The suicide bombers were 3. The one that blew himself, killed himself and wounded 6 other students. The other 2 took to their heels. Immediately alerted all the security operatives, the police, and a vigilante JTF, that all efforts should be on deck to make sure that the other 2 are arrested. And also we got 1 arrested. The other one even tried to escape through Nangere division, one of the divisions closer to Patiskum. Also the DPO who was on patrol with his men got that one arrested. All the 2 have been arrested that escaped.
Okay.
We recovered AK-47 rifle and 10 rounds of ammunition with 2 magazines with them. So this investigation is ongoing.
Apart from the
Hello?
just a minute, sir. Apart from the 6 injured students that you mentioned earlier, can you confirm if any casualty was recorded?
Nobody is killed.
It's all right. And you can confirm also that the 2 other suspects have been
Injured
arrested.
ones that are receiving treatment at General Hospital, Patiskum.
Okay.
So concerted efforts are on by the security operatives, vehicular patrols, and all other measures have been taken to stop.
What exactly is the situation at the College of Administratives? What's the situation at the College of Administrative and Business Studies in Potiskum as we speak right now?
After the incident, everything where is calm.
It's all right. Thank you very much for joining us on the news this hour.
Make sure if there are others to be traced.
Thank you very much for joining us, Commissioner for Police in Yobe State. We'll hope to reach you yet again when you have more updates for us on that developing story. Moving on now, the House of Representatives has mandated its committees on defense, army and human rights to investigate the alleged role of soldiers in recent killings in some communities in Plateau State. The decision by the lower chamber was prompted by a motion by Ahmed Idris, representing the affected area. The motion, Idris claimed that gunmen dressed in what looked like the uniform of the Nigerian army stormed a number of communities in Wase with over 40 trucks. The House committees, which expected to liaise with the military members of affected communities, are to turn in a report within 2 weeks. The House also mandated the National Emergency Management Agency to mobilize its personnel and resources to the affected areas in order to conduct damage assessment as well as providing necessary relief materials to victims. Barely 48 hours after the Taro community in Wase local government area in the southern senatorial district of Plateau State alleged that over 500 of the people were killed by security operatives in a night raid that lasted for hours. No fewer than 35 persons have been confirmed dead in another fresh attack by unknown gunmen suspected to be Fulani headsmen in 2 villages in Barakiladi local government area in the northern senatorial zone of the state. Loman.
The episode that took place in Maiduguri will repeat itself here in Barkinladi and the local government if federal government take steps and security agents rise up to the challenge to curtail this ugly situation.
Doesn't make sense for me to. The Supreme Court has stopped the National Assembly from taking steps to further amend the 1999 Constitution. The court wants federal lawmakers to maintain the status quo until June 18 when the matter comes up for hearing. The ruling was delivered on Thursday morning by a 7-man panel led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Mahmood Mohammed. The Supreme Court also ordered that a notice of hearing be served on the principal leaders of the National Assembly to enable them respond to the suit filed by President Goodluck Jonathan. The Jonathan administration had on April 27 urged the Supreme Court to issue an order of interlocutory injunction against both chambers of the National Assembly. The government had urged the court to stop the lawmakers from overriding the president's veto after he refused to give his assent to the fourth alteration of the 1999 Constitution. A Niger High Court sitting in Mina has issued an interim injunction restraining the Niger State House of Assembly from impeaching Governor Babangida Aliyu. Presiding Judge Justice Idris Evutu granted the request on the basis of an affidavit by the State Attorney General Abdullahi Wuse. The order followed a suit instituted by the governor against the newly installed Speaker of the House, Isa Kawu, the clerk, the Assembly, and 2 others. The court also fixed May 27 for hearing on the matter. Meanwhile, Niger State Governor Babangida Aliyu had gone to court in a bid to stop an alleged move by the State House of Assembly to impeach him. This was after the state legislators successfully impeached Speaker Adamu Usman, who was a staunch loyalist of the governor. Away from that story, the Supreme Court has set aside May 27 for judgment in the appeal filed by the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Iyola Omishore, against the victory of Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola in the August 9, 2014 governorship election. A 7-man panel of the Apex Court led by Justice John Fabi fixed the date for judgment after counsel to the parties argued their briefs. Counsel to Omishore Alex Ezeon urged the Apex Court to set aside the concurrent judgments of the 2 lower courts, which upheld Aregbesola as rightful winner of the election. But the 3 respondents to the appeals, Governor Aregbesola, his party, the All Progressives Congress, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, want the court to dismiss the appeals. Omishore had fought the appeals against the decisions of Justice Ghana Michele-led panel of the Court of Appeal in Akure, which on April 2, 2015 affirmed the earlier judgment of the Osun State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal. National Chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Adamu Muazu, has dared Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose to release evidence of his alleged collaboration with All Progressives Congress. Muazu, who is not at present in the country, threw the challenge via his Twitter handle on Thursday. He, however, wondered if the evidence the Ekiti State Governor claimed to have would not be like the one he tabled to show that President-elect Muhammadu Buhari was in a London hospital at the time he went to deliver a lecture at the Chatham House. In less than 3 weeks to hand over, impeachment, sack and appointment seems to be the priority of the outgoing administration. Oluwaseyi Adegoke met with some Lagos-based legal practitioners and tells us why this is so in this report.
The essence of impeachment is for checks and balances between the legislature and executives. The rate at which lawmakers recently serve impeachment notice or make the move is quite alarming and should be looked into.
There is a reason for inserting an impeachment clause in the Constitution. It's not something that you trivialize. At every slightest opportunity, you either want to remove the governor or you want to remove the deputy, and some of the reasons they give for removal is so bizarre. This abuse, of this impeachment provision must be looked into by the incoming government. We must insert, clauses that will ensure that they do not in any way trivialize it.
The latest in the impeachment saga is the Enugu case, where the lawmakers have successfully impeached the Speaker, Eugene Udo, and are making moves to impeach the state governor, Sullivan Chime. Earlier, the former Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba, was sacked by President Jonathan on April 12, 2015, replacing him with Solomon Arase few weeks to hand over. According to this lawyer, fallout of the outgoing administration seems to be the cause of these frictions in some states and federal level.
So many of the things they possibly would have done earlier, they are now beginning to do at the 11th hour. And that is very unfortunate because some of the actions of the outgoing government cannot be sustained. Some of those actions cannot be sustained. And the new administration will review some of those things. It's expected because you cannot gag a man in his own activities. You cannot begin to put in people and ask the new man not to have a second look at such people that you put. Because what if the people are not competent enough to be in that position? Is he going to leave them? He will obviously review all those appointments that are coming very late in time, and then those that are competent enough to hold the appointment, he may be good enough to allow them to carry on.
With less than 3 weeks to hand over, Nigerians hope the new administration will be able to correct the anomalies both in the state and federal level for democracy to thrive in Nigeria. Oluwaseyi Adibuke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
We'll take a break now and I'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
Women share the most amazing thoughts on national issues, and they do it passionately.
For most men that are educated, that are exposed, will see nothing to it.
The population and the level of poverty made me cry. No infrastructural development whatsoever. And you tell me Lagos is working?
That was an accident, and it was a one-off thing. Other than that, there has never been any situation in Nigeria where a Nigerian attacked anybody just because of where they came from.
Sharing the adorable word of women in politics every week, only on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. You can get all of our top stories on any of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle is at CoreTV News NG, and we're streaming live on YouTube. It's youtube.com/CoreTV. Leave a space and news. The outgoing President Goodluck Jonathan is insisting that the legacies he's bequeathing to Nigerians would not be easily forgotten. He says this during the commissioning of 3 major projects of his administration in Abuja. The projects include the Umaru-Yaradua Expressway, otherwise known as the Airport Road, the main terminal of Abuja Light Rail Project, and the Kubwa Expressway, all in Abuja. Helen Oparachukunwike has more in this report presented from our studios.
It's about 3 weeks to the terminal date of the Jonathan administration, but the president is keen on ensuring the completion of many of his projects. The Airport Road Expansion project is almost completed, while the Abuja Light Rail is at an advanced stage. President Jonathan is pleased with the quality of work and is sure that the project will have a big impact on the mass transit system.
These are projects really have improved the pace of Abuja tremendously. And people come to Abuja full of praises. If you look at the interchange, it's really making Abuja a real modern city. We are quite pleased with the progress of work. We'll do our best to see that the commitments of government are met and done well. Congratulations.
And in assessing the projects, President Jonathan insists that they are legacies for posterity. He also expressed hope that the incoming government will uphold and sustain what he described as legacies of his administration.
And this government, even on the 29th, the incoming government will definitely continue because this is the noble project to benefit Nigerians, especially residents of the FCT.
For his part, FCT Minister Bala Mohammed noted that the completion of the 2 major highways has reduced travel time along 2 of Abuja's busiest routes.
With a robust financial plan that we funded about 150 billion for the project, and that is why the timeline was very easy to comply with, and we have been able to take it to 98%. The only remaining portion that is not completed is the bridge behind the Aso Villa. Otherwise, everything has been delivered, and we are trying to look at the challenges of financing because we are owing the contractors about 10-15 billion on the two roads. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Completion of the 2 expressways have reached 98%, while work on the main rail terminus of the Abuja Light Rail project is put at 69%.
The main social-cultural group in southeast Nigeria, Ohanese Ndigbo, wants President-elect Muhammadu Buhari to reserve the position of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation for the geopolitical zone. A delegation of the social-political group made this appeal during a courtesy call on the President-elect in Abuja. The team, which was led by Ralph Obiora, also told the President-elect that the election in the southeast was marred by irregularities. Responding, the incoming president pledged to look into the claims, but also urged the group to remain committed to a peaceful Nigeria.
You saw things for yourself. And needless reminding Your Excellency that Southeast is an emergency case. You drove through the badly neglected and impassable Enugu-Awka Expressway and the Enugu-Wahia-Port Harcourt Expressway. Needless to mention the Okigwe Highway. Contrary to the election claims by the outgoing administration, no appreciable work is going on this route. Information has shown that no financial arrangement has been firmed up for the second major bridge. The Okuta panel report has been gathering dust, and indeed will have pleaded for the revisitation of the so-called abandoned properties in Nigeria and its collateral reparation and restitution demand.
I believe if the conspiracies in the South, South and Southeast were allowed to use the technology, just like the rest of the country, we would have even have more votes, and the separate would have been virtually perfect. But somehow, unfortunately, in the South and Southeast, both the police and the military, no talk of violent civilians, were overwhelmed. Somehow the military had a random battle with vultures, with Oshomale, with Amechi, and I hope that for record purposes, by denying Nigerians to vote for those they want to represent them, and for those they want to lead them as their governor and so on, we will correct what will subsequently come 2019 and beyond.
Outside Nigeria now, British Prime Minister David Cameron's Conservative Party looks set to continue in power, with projections and seats already announced giving his party a majority. The results seem to confirm a shock exit poll projection published by British broadcasters late on Thursday night that put the party way ahead of the opposition Labour Party with 316 seats. Updated projections put the Conservatives on 329, an absolute majority. The poll also predicted Labour winning 239 seats, the Scottish National Party winning 58, and the Liberal Democrats winning 10. Speaking after successfully defending a seat in Whitney, Cameron said his Conservative Party's policies in the last government had been vindicated by the result. This has been a very strong night for the Conservative Party, the Prime Minister said. Some people say there's only one opinion poll that counts, and that's the one on election day. And I don't think that's ever been truer than tonight, he added. Referring to polls published before election day that had put his party neck and neck with Labour, a party needs 226 seats to achieve a majority in Parliament, but this number is slightly lower in practice as the Sinn Féin MPs in Northern Ireland do not take up their seats. A Pakistani military helicopter carrying foreign diplomats in the mountainous region of Gilgit-Baltistan has crashed, killing 6 people. The military says the dead included 2 ambassadors, 2 wives of ambassadors, and the helicopter's 2 Pakistani pilots. The dead include Norwegian Ambassador Lev Lassen, Philippines Ambassador Domingo Lucenaro Jr., and the wives of the Malaysian and Indonesian ambassadors to Pakistan. Dutch Ambassador Masa Devik and Polish Ambassador Andres Anasi were injured in the crash. The I-17 helicopter was carrying 17 people, including 11 foreigners. The military spokesperson, Major General Asim Badwa, said in an earlier statement. The 13 survivors had varying degrees of injuries. The injured are being treated at the combined military hospital at Jutal, about 30 kilometers away from the area in which the crash occurred. The aircraft crashed in the Nauta Valley area of Gilgit-Baltistan, about 300 kilometers north of the capital, Islamabad. And that wraps it this hour with CoreTV News. Do join us again at the top of the hour for more. I'm Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.